And I remember seeing Under a Blood Red Sky in people's record collection, and just it was just a cool title to have in here because it
And
meant
the record
you were
looks
into them.
cool.
It looks cool. Remember, when I was a kid, I went to the US Festival in 1983.
You went to the US Festival?
Yeah.
How did you get there?
Well,
Which, by the way, these are all, it's out on DVD
yeah, I
now?
got it.
Oh, you
And
got it.
It was really amazing to
Did you see yourself?
get. Yeah, I did. To get the in the crowd of 600,000 people, I was able to find my 10-year-old self. But it was weird seeing it, and I have such vivid memories of the US Festival, and then
The US Festival, by the
seeing
way-
it on DVD was really weird.
It was a festival held out, where was it?
In San Bernardino.
San Bernardino, and it had, I think they did it 3 years in a row, perhaps?
They did
Or
it 2 years in a
okay.
row. This was the second year.
And it had just amazing bands there.
Yeah.
The English Beat.
Men at Work, Stray Cats.
I know there are
at
a
the
lot of
time-
people laughing at us right now because we said amazing bands.
And I
And it
said
said
Men at
English
Work.
Beat, Men at Work, Stray Cats.
But at the time, I remember English Beat. There was like a buzz about them, like people were just discovering them. But Men at Work were like U2 is now. They were
massive.
huge.
My when I was in the 7th grade, when I was 12, when I was 13 actually, 8th grade, I was in a woodworking class for a shop class.
Yeah.
And we had these plaques that we were supposed to use. Maybe it's called a router, but you can like make letters. It spins really fast.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a pencil. It almost looks like a pencil. And you could carve letters into
Oh,
wood,
sure,
right?
yeah.
And so I remember the guy who was really cool wrote Men at Work on his.
Well,
and
obviously he was really cool.
and we were like, man, that works as both a sign saying he likes the band
Yep.
and also as a sign, like
Yeah.
Men at Work. We were like, oh,
As
man.
practical application.
But you couldn't copy him. So
Right.
I sat there racking my brains trying to think of what could I put on mine. And I wrote, I love my... And then the Atari symbol.
Yeah.
Because I'd gotten an Atari 5200 and
Yeah.
it was really cool. And of course, everyone would make fun of me and say, you love playing with your joystick.
That backfired on you.
Yeah, it really did. Seems like everything. But I like to think that the Men at Work thing backfired on him as well, and just we didn't know it. We thought he was cool.
Yeah, I think that there's a reason he was the cool guy in the woodworking class. Because he liked Men at Work a little too much.
But Men at Work were massive. They
Massive.
were there.
Anyway, who else was
English
there?
Beat was the Vampire Weekend of their day, in my opinion.
They were.
They were. I think they're very similar bands.
Their English Beat was so great.
Fantastic.
The Clash was there.
Oh my God.
Van Halen, David Bowie.
I used to hear about the US Festival and be fascinated with the fact that it would have bands like The Clash and Van Halen together.
Yeah.
Where when I was growing up, with my brother was into heavy metal and I was into alternative, and
Yeah.
you would never mix those.
Right.
According to him, more. But so when I would hear about these festivals that would have those kind of mixes, it sounds great to me now because, I mean, how much would you love nowadays going to a festival that had Vampire Weekend and Mastodon playing? I think
Yeah.
it would be amazing.
Well, this was, I think they had like the first day with Stray Cats and Men at Work, it was like New Wave Day. With like, English Beat stuff. The second day was Metal Day.
And you were there both days?
We were there for 3 days. And U2 played on the third day.
What day was that? Was that like Rock Day?
It
or-
was, I think, like... Boy, I have the t-shirt at home still. Maybe they played on the first day. Anyway, they were way down the bill because they weren't very big, and I don't remember them, but
People
I know
don't
we
know,
were
but
around.
before the Joshua Tree, they were not big.
Right.
They were big sort of with people like us,
Yeah.
us in California,
Like
too.
the Unforgettable Fire, they would play like the Greek Theater. Like they weren't, they were pretty big. Like they were, pretty big, but not huge.
I also feel like growing up in LA, like I did, there were articles about U2 in the LA Times by Robert Hilburn.
Right.
Every week, it seemed
bet,
like.
yeah.
So, and it would. Robert Hilburn was the pop music writer for
He
the
was
LA
great.
Times. He was really good, and he would describe like everything about a band's performance and
Yeah.
talk about all of the amazing things that happen in quote lyrics. Now, he had his certain things that he loved. So you would read about U2 and Bruce Springsteen
Yeah.
constantly.
Right.
And I was not a Springsteen fan at the time. I was like,
Right.
shut up about Springsteen.
Right.
Now I would love to go back and read those articles.
Right.
But he would just talk about the experience of seeing a band, and it felt like you were seeing them. And he would talk about U2 endlessly. And so they seemed like a huge band to people in my neck of the woods.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I missed Robert Hilburn after he left the LA Times, actually. He was pretty great, pretty reliable to write,
I think he
good
shaped
reviews.
he shaped a lot of people's music tastes growing up in California.
Yeah, like Kurt Loder did for me, like his writing more than his MTV anchoring, which I, liked and stuff, but he was a great rock critic.
I've always felt that your acting is sort of based on Kurt Loder's
Reporting.
interviewing.
Yeah, absolutely. When he interviewed REM in 1991, I actually, my performance in Party Down is based on that interview style.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So
But wait, there's one more writer that really that I still love to read.
Dr. Seuss?
Yes. I love his reviews. I'll think of it and
Okay, yeah, just
And
blurt it out. Just say your name though.
I'll
Before.
say it's Scott and I will blurt it
Okay,
out.
great. Oh, hey, we should take a break.
Yeah.
For a minute.
Yes.
When we come back, more you talking U2 to me.
You talking U2 to me?
To me? Of all people, to me?
Wait, hold on. Stop the presses.
Alert the media and or stop the presses.
Now, when you say both of those, it's kind of contradictory, isn't
I
it?
know. I mean, alert the media that you're going to be stopping the presses.
How about stop the presses, alert the new media? You talking U2 to me?
All right, we'll be right back. All right, let's take a break, everyone, to thank Squarespace. What is Squarespace, I hear you saying? Well, look, you should know it by now. It is the all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy. Customer connect just for being awesome, but hey, how about for sponsoring today's show? Octung Baby, Meditations on Love in the Shadow of the Fall by Stephen Catanzarite. That's a free audiobook, a 30-day free trial by visiting audiblepodcast.com/U2. Thanks, Audible, for helping us out. You talking U2 to me. We're back here, Adam Scott and I, Scott Aukerman. It's Scott and Scott. That's all we need to say.
The Scots.
The Scots.
It's like when my family's going to go to someone's house for dinner. Are the Scots coming over? They could say the same for you and I when we go to someone's house for dinner.
Yeah, we should go to people's houses for dinner together.
Let's start doing that.
Why not? Now, what were you doing at the US Festival? This is 1983. You must have been
10.
You were 10.
Yeah.
What are you doing there?
Drugs.
Awesome.
My stepmom was a family therapist, and so she had a family therapy seminar. Like Steve Wozniak had a bunch of tents with different things going on.
He started the US Festival.
Yeah, he's the one. Steve
Woz.
Wozniak's. And I met him when I was 10 and talked to him at the US Festival. And there was just a big crowd of like press and people just following him around, and I just got down on the ground and crawled under a bunch of people's legs and popped right up in front of him and stopped him and asked him a question.
Why? Why are you so fascinated with Steve Wozniak
Because
at 10?
my dad and my brother were big like computer nerds, and so in our family he was this big hero, and I didn't totally understand what he was all about.
You were
but I just
trying
wanted
to
have-
impress,
Yeah, Daddy.
and that's what it's all about,
And
isn't
that's
it?
why I asked Steve Wozniak if I could suck his dick.
You got down low
Yep.
and popped right up.
No, because in the Bay Area, Steve Wozniak used to have a dial-a-joke where every day you could dial a phone number and he would have a different joke.
Really?
And so I wanted to talk to him about that because I used to love calling dial-a-joke. Anyway,
What did he say to you? I'm sure
I
inquiring.
asked him about Dial a Joke, and he just said, "Oh, I just do it for fun," and then just kind of kept walking. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I think he was pretty into me as a kid.
Wow. And so
anyway,
your mother was there.
My stepmother was
sorry.
doing a family therapy seminar in this tent, and so we got like backstage passes and stuff at the US Festival.
Wow, so you
as a
were
family.
backstage watching the band?
I was backstage watching Little Steven and the Disciples of Soul. That's the only band we got to go backstage for.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Now, here's my question about Little Steven and the Disciples of Soul.
Do you remember them?
Yeah. Did he have to share the microphone like he does with Bruce Springsteen, or was he like, you know what, I have to do all that with Bruce, I'm going to get my own mic?
I feel like for Little Steven, if he's not sharing a mic with someone, he probably still behaves as if he is by playing backwards to the microphone.
I like to think that Bruce Springsteen has really bad breath and is forcing everyone to share the microphone with him, and it's their least favorite part of the night.
I mean, they truly are one of the most successful bands on the planet. You would think they could afford a few more microphones.
I know, come on,
stage.
Bruce. Jeez, well, that's why they're so popular. Bruce Springsteen.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Hey, whose name is up there on the marquee? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Before we get back to the US Festival, a little bit more of trivia.
We don't need to get back to the US Festival, by the way.
The Edge, guitarist for U2.
Yeah, sure.
His real name, Frank Blowford.
Huh. I thought it was Dave Evans.
No.
Frank Blowford.
Frank Blowford. Interesting, which is why, The Edge sounds a lot cooler than the Frank Blowford.
Yeah. I wonder what if he never changed his name from Frank Blowford to The Edge, how different would U2's music be?
I know, could you really listen to this band with Bono and Frank Blowford?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Or if Bono never changed his name either, from Paul.
Paul. God, we'll figure this out.
Gorfinson.
Yes. So Paul Gorfingensen and Frank Blowford start a band together. What if they'd kept those names?
I don't think it would have worked.
Yeah. What is it? Bono. What is that? You know what I mean?
Bono Vox.
Bono Vox. That was how he was originally billed.
On
right?
the Boy liner notes, it's Bono Vox.
That's a lot like the Pixies. Kim Deal, wasn't she billed as Mrs. John something on the first record?
Yeah, they each had a weird name.
Yeah.
And a weird photo to go along with it.
Yeah, but people in rock bands are weirdos.
Yeah. Well,
know
you
what I mean?
hope they're weirdos. That's what was great about music back then. We're now just old people talking about
Yeah, I know.
music. But there was like mystery
People
to
have
it.
already sat through Huey Lewis and the News and the Stray Cats.
And us talking about how awesome they were. But there was something cool about the mystery. That's why, like, seeing Under a Blood Red Sky in someone's house, it was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah,
That's cool.
couldn't just look it up. You didn't.
Right.
Yeah, you couldn't download it immediately.
And I
You had to
remember
go
when
find it.
Achtung Baby came out.
What?
Maybe. When Achtung Baby, when that album came out,
Sure.
they didn't release it early for critics, so there would be reviews out when it came out. They didn't. No one had heard it until it hit the record
physically
stores.
came out. Right.
And then you brought it home having no idea, other than The Fly, which had already come out, what this was.
We'll talk about The Fly in a few episodes, by the way.
And I'm going to talk about all of this all over again.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was such a cool move to just put this thing out there. And so
That's
there
like
aren't...
Beyonce.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. But just so there's no, like, the critics haven't defined it for you yet.
Yeah.
And since it was such new music, it was just a cool move.
I was thinking about this today. Don't you think most music criticism these days is addressing complaints about, like, it's addressing comments that will internet comments before they can be made? Does that make sense? Like, half of anything you read reviewed now is, yes, people are going to think that it's a blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But what it really is that drives me crazy. Just tell me what you think of it.
I feel the same about film criticism now, too.
Films.
Films criticisms.
I love film, by the way. Have we talked?
Do you?
We should start
I didn't know that about
podcast. I love my favorite films of all time.
Yeah.
Citizen Kane.
Sure.
The Godfather.
Of course.
Lawrence of Arabia. Like, those are the
Scott-
types of films that I like.
Scott, those are great films.
Thank you.
I'd even go so far as to add The Conversation to that list. Francis Ford Coppola.
No, I don't know that one. I've only seen 3 movies.
Yeah, I've never seen The Conversation either, but I just feel like it should be on that list.
It
Do you
should
know
be
what
a
I
part
mean?
of the conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny because that's the name of the movie I was referencing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
We
So-
should start another podcast concurrently, which is inside the U2 podcast. We should have another podcast running inside of it called I Love Films.
Okay, so let's hear the I Love Films theme song. Okay, great. So now let's talk about films that we love.
Oh, man. Scott, I have a question for you.
Yes, Scott?
This is Scott talking. Scott, I have a question for you.
Yes, Scott. This is Scott.
Have you ever seen Splendor in the Grass?
Beautiful film.
Great film.
And that was
our first episode.
our first episode of I Love Films. We also should be doing a Huey Lewis podcast, but we should be doing it when the other person is talking. We should be recording that one.
Yep.
So listen for that. Right now, this is Scott. I'm talking, and Scott over there is currently talking about Huey Lewis.
1985.
And
Huey Lewis.
no, not into that mic. Sorry, do it into the other.
Sorry.
The other mic. And the minute that I stop talking,
In 1985.
try to keep
Huey
it down because
Lewis.
I'm still trying to talk about you two over here. The minute that I stop talking, Scott will come over to this mic and he'll start talking about you two, and I'll start talking about Huey Lewis.
What I was thinking about when I first thought of maybe getting in touch with Scott
real name.
to do this podcast was just how U2 has kind of been around my whole adult life.
That's all I know about Huey. Hey
And-
man.
Hey,
That's all I know about Huey Lewis. I kind of crapped out.
that was really hard.
It's hard to do, but worth it.
Yeah.
Let's get back to you two, and most importantly, let's get back to the S Festival. Did that set a love of music and love of going to bands and watch them perform? How did that shape your experience?
Yeah, it was. I remember because we camped out in I think we had tents. My family.
Sounds
and I.
intense.
It was very intense. But I remember Van Halen went on after the Clash and just talked shit about the Clash.
What?
Yeah, David Lee Roth came on stage and was like,
Boozy,
"You know who sucks? The Clash."
Oh, come on.
Yeah, because I guess it was the heavy metal day, so the Clash being on that bill was a little weird.
Oh, yeah.
And we were already like asleep in our tents, which was totally intense. By the time this was all happening, because I was like 10 years old, so my parents weren't going to have me at
You were in
the heavy
tens.
metal, the heavy metal show. They were going to keep me in tents.
Right. You know who sucks? The Clash.
Yeah.
Boozy bop.
Yeah.
That's too bad. You want all the people in your bands to get along, but at the same time, you don't. I don't know.
But they were talking about a different band. They weren't talking about their own.
Oh, that's true.
Anyway, yeah, it was a crazy experience because that was a huge. I mean, that was like 6 times as big as Coachella. It was huge. I think. I mean, looking at the video like I did recently, I was like, wow, that was enormous. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
a million people or something.
Crazy. I heard about it. I saw the T-shirts for it. I
Yeah.
was fascinated with it. I always wanted to be there. And you say you saw U2 there? Or
No, well, I just
Maybe
don't
you
really
didn't- they didn't-
remember.
right.
Yeah, I didn't know.